Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about noun clause. Let's start. What is a noun clause? Noun clause is a clause that functions as a noun. Noun clause can be used in a sentence as an object of a verb, the second as an object of a preposition, and the third as the subject of the sentence. Okay, so let's look at each of the function here. The first, I know when he will arrive. So this is an example of a noun clause. Okay, let's look at the form. I know when he will arrive. Here, in the red color, that's the noun clause. We have a connector when, we have subject he, and will arrive verb. So, a clause should have a subject and a verb as well. The same as a sentence. A sentence must also have a subject and a verb, right? A clause also must have a subject and a verb. So this is the first function as an object of a verb. Okay, I know, and the object of a verb is when he will arrive. Okay, the second function, this is the example of the sentence. I'm concerned about when he will arrive. Okay, here the function is as an object of a preposition if it follows a preposition. I'm concerned about when he will arrive. So here we can see in the red color the noun clause, and before that we have a preposition about. So that's why it is called an object of preposition, because it follows a preposition. Okay, the same, we also have a subject and the verb in the noun clause, and don't forget the connector. Okay, the third, when he will arrive is not important. Okay, so this is the subject of the sentence. The noun clause functions as the subject of the sentence here. So what is the subject of the sentence? When he will arrive. Okay, and then let's look at the noun clause. When he will arrive, we also have subject he and will arrive verb. And don't forget the connector, of course. Okay, so here we call noun clause connectors because the connector and the subject are different. Later, we will going to talk about noun clause connector subjects. The subject and the connector are the same in the noun clause. Okay, so we focus on noun clause connectors first. Let's continue. Here are some connectors that we can use in the noun clause connectors. For example, what, when, where, why, how, whatever, whenever, whether, if, and that. Okay, now let's try this example. Who was late caused many problems. So the answer here is A, B, C, or D? Yes, you're right. The answer is A. That he was late caused many problems. That he was late is the subject of the sentence, and cause is the verb of the sentence. Okay, in the noun clause, that he was late, we have connector that, we have subject he, and verb was. Okay, so this is complete. What about this one? Okay, you can try this and comment your answer down below. Okay, now let's continue to talk about noun clause connectors subjects. Okay, noun clause connectors subjects. Before we have learned noun clause connectors only, but here connectors and subjects. For example, I don't know what happened. We don't worry about who will do the work. Whoever wants to come to the party must bring a gift. So here we have I don't know and what happened. So what happened is the noun clause. And here we have what as the connector and as subject at the same time. So the function of what is as the connector and as subject, and happened is the verb of the noun clause. Okay, so here we have one connector and one subject. That's why we call it noun clause connectors subjects. Okay, example number 2. We don't worry about who will do the work. Okay, so the same noun clause as object of preposition because the noun clause comes after preposition about. Okay, here the same. We have who as the connector and the subject as well. And then we have will do as the verb. The third, whoever wants to come to the party must bring a gift. Okay, so here noun clause as subject of the sentence. Whoever wants to come to the party, that's the subject of the sentence. Must bring is a verb of the sentence. And whoever is the connector of the noun clause as well as the subject of the noun clause. And wants is the verb. Okay? So that's the difference between noun clause connector subjects and noun clause connectors only. Okay, so here are some connectors that we can use in noun clause connector subjects. Who, what, which, whoever, whatever, and whichever. Okay, so there are less connectors than noun clause connectors. Okay, now let's try this example. Blah 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 was on television, made me angry. So the answer is it A, B, C, or D? Yes, the answer is C. What was on television made me angry. So here we have what was on television as the subject of the sentence and made as the verb of the sentence. And what was on television, we have what as the connector as well as the subject of the noun clause and was as the verb of the noun clause. Okay, so the answer is C. Okay, you can try this one and comment your answer down below. Well, now let's focus on what clauses. Okay, so what is also connector in the noun clause. For example number 1, what I want you to do is to practice speaking every day. So here, what I want you to do is the noun clause and it functions as the subject of the sentence. The second, money was what I look for. So the example is, what I look for is the object of the sentence. That's the noun clause. The third one, I'm thinking about what my mother will say to me. What my mother will say to me is the noun clause and that functions as object of preposition. And the fourth, this laptop is what I've been waiting for. So here we have subject complement, what I have been waiting for. So this completes the subject. This laptop is what I've been waiting for. All right. Now let's look at connecting sentences using what connector. Okay, so we can connect two sentences using what connector. For example, John is a truthful person that makes people like him. So how do we connect this using what connector? What makes people like John is that he is an honest person or truthful person. Okay, here we have what clause. What makes people like John? That's the subject of the sentence, right? And then we have connector that to connect this clause and this subject complement. Okay, so what and that are essential here. And then the second example, the students have a can-do attitude. The teacher finds that appealing. What the teacher finds interesting is that the students have a can-do attitude. Okay, so here the same. And the third one, the professor explained the black hole phenomenon to the students. They mostly didn't understand it. Okay, let's combine using what. The students didn't understand what the professor explained to them. So here we don't have connector that because what functions as the object of the sentence, of the verb. The students didn't understand what the professor explained to them. Okay. All right. I think that's all. You may try to make your own examples using what connector. And you can comment down below. And also you can make one example of connect two sentences using what connector. Well, I think that's all. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.